So, suicide and overdoses are not very fun topics to talk about, but it does occur in men more than women. With men, it's about 80% of them that complete suicides, and women, it's 20% suicide rate. For men, you know, they usually talk to themselves, or they don't really talk to anybody and they keep it inside, and that's where they get in trouble because they keep it to themselves, and a thought can spin around in your head so much you just think that that's the only thing that really matters in the world, and it's not. And so that's why, they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to go see anybody about it. It's like trying to get them to go to the doctor's office. It's not going to happen unless there's something seriously wrong. Whereas women, they have a group of friends usually that they talk to, and they're more open to ideas, to learning about new ways of focusing their energy and their stress, and just they're more open to trying like therapy, or just like talk therapy, or just talking to someone just does immense amount of good for that kind of person. For suicide in the ages of 15 to 24, it's the third leading to death, and in the age group of 25 to 34, it is the second leading cause of death among people. And it's kind of scary because these are very young people. They're just getting into the prime of their life, and there have even been reported 12-year-olds committing suicide, which is extremely terrible, but they don't know anything about it. There's a stigma about suicides, and no one really wants to talk about it because it's just something that, it doesn't really affect you until it really affects you. So people need to, find someone to talk to, or a stress reliever. Like mine is coloring. Like I color, or I go running whenever I get a thought stuck in my head, or I write it down real quick. There's a bunch of little things that can just, help ease the thoughts in your head. And a lot of college students don't understand that they can do this. It doesn't take a lot of time just to jot something down real quick. They think that they don't have time to do this because they're busy, they're doing their grades, and they don't think that it's going to be an issue until it actually is a real issue. So it's just something to keep in mind. Going off of that, with everything going on in politics, guns are a really big component. I'm not going to get into that, but the part that I'm going to discuss is that firearms are one of the main uses of suicide, rather than like someone like using rope or knives or things like that. It's firearms that are the big component of completions of suicides. It's just fast, and you can't stop it once it goes off. And these are some of the things that need to be discussed more on college campuses. Is about, there should be no stigma about it. There should be just an open conversation about it. Another thing that needs to have an open conversation amongst college campuses is overdoses. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk about marijuana and alcohol and things like that. And yes, those are the things that people know about. They know how to get help. Or at least they think they know how to get help, and you can call 911 and things like that. But a lot of people don't know that students are using pain medication prescribed to them and sold on the streets as a way to cope with everything that's going on. And what's so dangerous about it is that no one really ever talks about it, because no one's ever had to really face anything like this. And so people don't really know how to respond to certain situations where, like, if they think someone's overdosing, or they think someone could be potentially overdosing, they don't know what to do. So in college campuses around the United States, there's seminars and classes on what to do and how to find the symptoms and just kind of help prevent it. But the main thing is that no one's ever talking about it, so no one's gonna know. And so you really need to start discussing things with friends and just bring it up in conversation, because if you don't talk about it, it's never gonna be dealt with. And so a lot of people don't know what to do when they see these things happening. Well, you know to call 911, but there's also, you can do CPR and rescue breathing. There's that. Also, the paramedics have a medication called Narcan. It's either a nasal spray or an injection, and it stops the reaction that the body has. It stops the brain from getting the chemical signals that the opioids are giving to the brain. And so if someone's not breathing and they give them this, they can usually start breathing on their own in 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how much they've taken. So in like car crashes, when a driver is unconscious, they will immediately go ahead and give them this just in case. And if they wake up, it usually takes like a few seconds, and if they wake up, that's what's wrong, and they can immediately start treating them. If it's not, then they can go through their other protocols and figure out what's wrong and what caused the crash, what other problems they're having with it. But main thing about all of this is that you need to talk about it. These are all things that are preventable if you just have a conversation with at least one person.